Right now on Denver7 News on Local 3.
Hey, get on your face! On your face! Leave me, bro!
Disturbing body cam footage released by Aurora police.
Can't go to jail for somebody too.
Turn over!
2 officers have been arrested, their police chief not being able to stand by their actions.
This is not police work. This is not police work. This is not the Aurora Police Department. This was criminal.
Tonight we have reaction from city officials about the latest incident to plague the department.
Unfortunately, these egregious kind of incidents really put a black mark on our officers and our police department.
Plus, the CDC reverses its stance on mask guidance.
We have a pandemic because of the unvaccinated. They're showing enormous confusion.
We look into what this new guidance means for you.
We're heading into a rough time that we could see as many as 200,000 cases a day.
Good Tuesday evening, and thank you for watching Denver7 News on Local 3. I'm Jessica Porter. We begin tonight with the body cam video from Aurora police showing the violent arrest of a man by 2 officers. Now, we want to warn you, the video is bad. Even Aurora Police Chief Vanessa Wilson called it disturbing and that the video brought her to tears. Officer John Halbert and Officer Francine Martinez were both arrested and are now facing charges. Halbert is facing felony assault charges. Martinez is facing misdemeanor charges for duty to report. Here is part of the body cam video showing Halbert and Martinez struggling with Kyle Vincent. Halbert even putting a gun to Vincent's head.
You have a warrant.
No, I don't. I don't have to
Stop fighting.
Bro, I don't have no warrant. You guys have the wrong guy. I don't have a warrant, bro.
Stop
I don't
fighting.
have a warrant. I don't.
Stop fighting.
Help! 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 I don't have a warrant, bro. Bro, I don't have no warrant, bro.
Get on your face.
Police Chief Vanessa Wilson saying Officer Halbert hit Vincent with his pistol more than a dozen times. The chief saying in a press conference today that this is not police work and not representative of her department. She says she owed it to the community to take action.
I hope that the transparency that we're giving you here today, as well as the swift action by our police department, can make some of you believe that we are trying to do the right thing, we are trying to reform, and we are trying to make a difference. This is not the Aurora Police Department. This was criminal.
Aurora police say Vincent had an active felony warrant stemming from a domestic violence-related incident. He remains in jail tonight. This is the latest incident involving the Aurora Police Department, and the city is trying to assure the public that your tax dollars are going towards bettering the community. Denver7's Eddie Guajardo spoke with the mayor pro tem to figure out where the city goes from here.
I'm going to tell you this video will shock your conscience. It is very disturbing.
Roll over on your face.
You're killing me.
Turn over.
You're killing
When I heard it, I was like, no, not again, not again. Really?
Francois Bergen called the actions of Aurora officer John Halbert appalling.
He's strangling him and threatening to shoot him. When you hear that from an officer,
This is not how we train our officers. I mean, this is just outrageous and completely unprofessional. It's not what we teach our officers.
Video shows the officer pistol whip Kyle Vincent, threatened to shoot him and choke him during his arrest. Covered in blood, Vincent cried out for help. According to the affidavit, Vincent did not attack the officer or appear to make any life-threatening actions against him during the arrest.
It's a terrible feeling because I know we do have great officers and we have a great police department, but unfortunately these egregious kind of incidents really put a black mark on our officers and our police department. Honorable police officers, they're angry as well. And they don't want to see this happening. And this is not indicative of our city.
She says the city is working on reforms to prevent incidents like these from happening.
I think you can never have enough training.
She says while hiring guidelines for the police department are strict, it may be worth a second look.
That's just so outrageous for an officer to behave that way.
Bergen feels like Aurora Police Chief Vanessa Wilson took all the necessary steps within her power to hold officers involved accountable.
They have been arrested and they've bonded out on those charges.
The chief says she will continue to be transparent with the community.
The public has a right to know.
She came out as soon as she possibly could, and she has the internal affairs investigation expedited. So I think she's trying to do as best she can to get this done quickly.
Her message to officers with the Aurora Police Department?
You know, please, and beg you to understand that what you do, your actions, are a reflection of our entire city and our entire police department. And if you need help, you know, go get help. We can't condone this.
That was Denver7's Addie Guajardo. Chief Wilson vowed to continue more training for her officers, saying she will take people out of her department if this is how they're going to police. Tonight, there are some questions about how Officer Hobart was hired in the first place. He pled guilty in 2009 to prohibited use of a weapon while intoxicated, which is a misdemeanor. Looking closer tonight, there are specific misdemeanors and felonies under Colorado's law enforcement certification laws that would bar someone from becoming a police officer. The charges Hobart faced are not on that list. Hobart was hired back in 2018 by Aurora Police, but Chief Wilson says she doesn't have direct control over who's hired.
I need to make it clear that I have no control over any basic applicant that is hired by the city of Aurora. We only control the lateral process. That is a Civil Service Commission question.
Turn to Channel 7 tonight at 10, where we dig deeper into how officers are certified. As we mentioned, this is not the first kind of incident involving Aurora police officers. Back in 2009, 23-year-old Elijah McLean was stopped by police and given a lethal dose of ketamine during a struggle. This past February, an investigation found the officers had no legal right to stop, restrain, or frisk McLean. Then there is this video showing an Aurora police officer passed out drunk behind the wheel. This happened in March of 2019. At the scene, the deputy chief decided to treat this as a medical issue, not a DUI, and police never ordered a blood sample. And this video shows police wrongfully detaining a black family in a parking lot. Video shows the officers holding 4 kids at gunpoint and handcuffing them on the pavement. But it's not just issues with policing. The department faces a turnover issue as well. There was a 61% increase in turnover from 2019 to 2020. One recently departed officer spoke to us about the issues in February.
Most people, when I told them I was leaving, good for you, I'm a little bit jealous. They do not feel respected or protected. They really need a police chief that's interested in leading the department, and I don't think they have that.
Chief Wilson said earlier this year that policing during a period of reform presents many challenges. We have in-depth coverage of this latest incident in Aurora right now on the denverchannel.com. Today, the CDC updated its mask guidance, impacting both those who have received their vaccine and students returning to the classroom this next month. The new guidance recommends everyone in an area with substantial or high levels of transmission to wear masks indoors. Taking a closer look at this map from the CDC, those areas are the ones in orange or red. You can see there are a lot of areas on the western slope and in the high country. ABC's Morgan Norwood looks into what the changes mean for you.
As the Delta variant spreads among the unvaccinated and vaccinated, the CDC with a change in the mask guidance for schools and the millions of Americans who have already received their shots.
When we examine the rarer breakthrough infections and we look at the amount of virus in those people, it is pretty similar to the amount of virus in unvaccinated people.
The CDC now urging Americans to wear masks indoors if they're in an area with substantial transmission. The agency also reversing its guidance from 2 weeks ago that said vaccinated students could go maskless in schools. Instead, now recommending universal masking for all teachers, staff, students, and visitors, regardless of vaccination status. Parents from coast to coast protesting the mask mandates in schools.
I cannot stand to see her masked, and she doesn't want to be masked.
And in Washington, mandates for federal workers to be vaccinated or face other protocols could be on the way. That's according to sources familiar with the talks. The announcement could come as early as Thursday. The president sounding off about the spread.
We have a pandemic because of the unvaccinated. They're showing enormous confusion.
Los Angeles now requiring city workers to show proof of vaccination or face weekly testing.
We're facing a real threat, and the only way we'll gain the upper hand is by fighting back.
As the vaccination rates dwindle in areas where cases are surging, the CDC issuing a health advisory urging clinicians to increase vaccinations to prevent surges of new infections that could overwhelm healthcare capacity. In Florida, 15-year-old Paulina Velasquez was planning to get her shots when she got COVID. She's now on a ventilator. Her mom, though vaccinated, experiencing a breakthrough infection.
It was terrifying for me because I said, why me? Why not, why my daughter? Why not me?
Morgan Norwood, ABC News, Los Angeles.
We believe that the most efficient way to bring EV charging to market is to replicate the existing network of refueling stations.
Electric cars are the future, but fueling that future is hitting a roadblock.
Range anxiety is still the #1 concern that consumers cite when they are asked about whether they would purchase an EV car.
Today was a real scorcher across Colorado. Tomorrow it gets even hotter.
Plus, the federal eviction moratorium expires this weekend. But there's a new push to keep it around in our state. And for people in the high country, that could come as relief.
I keep asking myself, why? Why is it like this?
As visitors keep coming, small mountain towns are having a tough time keeping up.
We just want to live here, pay our bills, and be happy.